everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today, Bancroft joined once again by Jimmy and Jake.
Bancroft, why is your Z deck and leader not in the leader and Z deck area?
What's going on, y'all?
In today's matchup, well, it's me versus Jake. As you can tell, I play left-handed, so I don't. That's why my mat's getting covered up very quickly as this match progresses.
Should have read the left-hand version.
I wish there was a left-hand version. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, there was. There was like a little drop-down menu on the site. It's like you can get like the left-handed mat, or you can get the correct mat.
Yeah, I don't
The
think
correct mat. I don't think that's how it was worded on the site.
But today's matchup is me playing Android 13. Jake is playing Gotenks. Like always, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them to there for a reason, and there's links. Let's get into today's matchup. Yeah, I covered up Goku very quickly.
Yeah, he's under the life. I don't really know. I was trying to think of a joke, but I can't think of anything.
It's modesty coup.
Modesty.
Yeah. It's like one of those like video poker machines where like when you get a nice hand, like the girl strips a little more. It's like the same thing but with Goku.
Every time I take,
He's just putting on more clothing as the game goes on.
Yeah.
By the end, he's in a parka.
Yeah. So we haven't seen Android 13. So I guess let's get into it a little bit. The main ability of the leader on the front side, it can't attack. You just tap it, search top 5 cards for an Android card, add it to your hand. And then on the Awaken, you reset it in one of your energies. If you're 4 or less life, or you have 2 or more energy and an Android 14 or 15, either in your battle area or your drop area, if correct. And then on the Awaken side, on swing, it has 2 autos. Either A, you play an Android 14 or 15 energy cost 1 red, or you draw 1 card. And you saw the one that I drew to my hand from the leader's search effect is one of those 1-drops, if I recall correctly. And those kind of on play will either search for the other version of themselves. So like Android 14 will find the Android 15, obviously 1-drops. Or if your leader is a Z leader Android 13, you'll draw 1 card, which actually is a lot better than I remember us talking about when we initially went over this deck. Because I remember we were talking about, like, oh man, that seems really weak. No, it felt pretty good playing it actually, because you would just play it from the drop, draw 1 card from its effect, and then you could combo it off afterwards.
I remember playing against it. The thought that came to my mind immediately was, this is Red Trunks and Vegeta.
Yeah.
The leader is a little bit underpowered, but there's a Z leader to compensate, but it feels a lot like to play against, at least initially in the early turns, like Red Trunks and Vegeta. I want to mention real quick before we get too far, that Peel Off the Cunning on turn 1 is super annoying for me. A lot of what I play with in my deck is out of the drop area, and the way that my leader is worded, if I activate the comboing effect, I get an energy rebate at the end of my turn while I'm still turn player, and I'm still underneath the Peel Off the Cunning effect. So it's super annoying to have that come down on turn 1 for me.
I think your leader was fine, though, on Peel Off.
No, does Peel Off non-leader skills or non-awaken skills?
I thought it was... I remember reading this out loud.
It's skill of a battle card or extra card.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well...
But you have...
nothing on my turn that's a battle card or extra card that'll restand.
I played blue all night, and I was trying to side in both my Peel Offs and both of my Mais.
Yeah. So I was playing under the assumption this whole game that I couldn't freely activate that effect without running into Peel Off, forgetting that it doesn't hit leaders.
There's like 3 of these fucking untap hate cards, and they're all different, and they all suck in their own way. I think the only good one is like is it My Piccolo Underling, where it like, it stops pretty much Dimension Magic and Dimension Magic alone.
And that's it, yeah.
So My is if you restand an energy with a
counter.
Yeah. I think the only good part about that card is that it's barrier. The Cunning is nice because it puts it in the game state.
Yeah.
But with being errata, there are very few cards that untap during your turn that aren't a leader card or like a unison.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the old ones like Raditz the Oppressor and the Borgos. Like, they're really susceptible to removal, but they draw a card when they come in, and their effect is generic enough that it still has an impact on the game.
Mhm.
And being able to do a is that all you got on your two kind of big boys came in really handy there.
Yeah, it was a really solid play. I don't normally go into the fusion this early, but I kind of just wanted to draw the cards. My hand wasn't really that strong, and I felt like I was in a safe enough position where I could commit the energy to fusing and just drawing a few cards.
And I will say part of this. Also, looking back, I don't know why I charged that one drop, but hey, sure. Because this deck really revolves on the idea of playing the one drop and immediately paying energy to go into the 7-drop afterwards, and using the 7-drop swing, and coming a card out from underneath it just by um, attacking to nega cards is pretty nice.
Yeah, and like, this is how desperate I am for card advantage here. I'm tapping all the way out before I'm at 5 energy for 5 energy, 5 life, excuse me, for Child's Army. So, and I'm just adding those cards to my hand. So, I'm just looking for a little bit of gas here to go into my next turn.
I will say that was very nice to see you doing that. And looking at the cards, I felt comfortable charging the double strike because the 7-drop red has double strike on it. So it just didn't feel like I needed it. But we're talking about the Trunks Vegeta kind of engine early on. I love the idea of being able to just play one of these one drops and just pulling out these from my deck and just having them as combo pieces afterwards. It does suck early on because you're not really drawing a nuke, like you're not really drawing a card that you may need. You're just adding a combo piece to your hand. Is how I always felt like it was being like. So the one drop Android 13, 13. Top 5 search, add an Android card, energy cost 3 or less to your hand. And then the Union Absorption, you play a 14 and 15 from your drop underneath it, and you play a 7-drop 17 from your deck on top of it. And I do tech in 2 other of the 17s. I think they're both a green-yellow variant, just for different matchups, just in case it's needed. But I feel like for most of the night, I just played the red one.
Yeah, this one seemed really strong to play against. You even see me picking it up and giving it a reread there after you kind of explained it to me. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this Goten in the way.
But unfortunately, because my auto does go off before yours does, I was able to neg out your Goten before you can actually.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And because you tapping out, I was able to kind of like put you into that tricky spot there. Now, Pilaf's auto is, I think, turn player, so you're able to still Dimension Magic there. And I just couldn't find a Mai at this point to put on the board to hurt you for that Dimension Magic. I learned later that Mai's aren't in my deck, actually.
Oof.
Wow, spoiler alert.
Yeah. That was fun when I came across that. I think I drew into a card at one point, and I was like, I messed my sideboard up.
So I'm in a pretty precarious position here, and I feel like even though I'm at 2 life, I feel like I'm okay. I spent a lot of time drawing cards on my last turn and didn't really spend that many out of my hand defending. So I remember thinking here, I've got 2 lines of play. I can either just tap 4 and jam go into a Boo Unison, or maybe play things a little bit different and try and get some extra pressure here.
I do want to mention just the flavor on this Android 13. that it's not affected. It's very specific, not
I
affected by
hate
red
that.
Saiyans with 20k or less power,
It-
or 20k or more, one of the two.
So there are very few cards. I was trying to think like what would that like benefit against? Obviously, it's archetype for the set, so the trio of Saiyans, but you can't snipe it or hit it with like the old school counterplays or the Kaioken concentrate destruction Goku. Like those won't hurt it, which is I guess is a good thing. But like, what else Saiyans would actually affect it?
It's just a flavor piece. All of the Android 13 decks has just been like, hey, the fuck the Saiyans. So I really enjoy that. I still, one of my favorite text on card in this entire game is the Android 13 leader from like, is it set 3? That's like, if your opponent's leader is Son Goku, you can awaken early, or you can awaken at 6 life. Like, I love that. I know it's a slippery slope when it comes to gameplay, but like I absolutely love stuff like that in this game.
And I will say it only gains that effect if you have a 13 underneath it, though. But
Yeah,
still,
Yeah, just a very interesting flavor piece. Even though I'm running low on energy here, overwhelming the big Broly and removing your big guy felt pretty good. And then just putting a little bit more pressure on your life total, hoping to thin your hand a bit. Because I feel like you had a pretty solid hand throughout the game.
I had
like 12 to 14 cards.
I don't think it was that many, but I definitely had a lot of cards. But I was waiting to get down to 4 life because I started to get to the point where I was getting those green yellow enter 13s in my hand that I definitely did not need. So I was able to super combo those and get those back in my deck, and just seeing fresher cards felt really nice though. And here I felt like this might be your last attack for the turn, so I went ahead and did the Z Awaken. Just so I don't have to worry about spending the energy next turn for it.
Smart.
I will say this was the second time I played this game, and I wasn't 100% on the leader, the Android 13 secondary auto. When you play a red Android card on the battlefield, you're able to take one of your Android cards from your Z energy, put it into your drop, and then place up to one of your red Android cards from your, if I correct, from your drop into your Z energy. And it's a good way of cycling the one drop 13s back into the into your Z deck, so you can use your leader's ability when you Z Awaken. Because once you get to the point of Z Awakening, you can no longer move that around. So if you're not set up by that point, you're losing out on a lot of potential double strike swings.
Yeah. And even though I put you under the floodgate, you've got a lot of easy access to one drops. So me spending my last energy to play another blocker there in a deck that against a deck that removes them pretty easily uh, should kind of tell you that I'm pretty much floundering for resources here, trying to find a way out.
Yeah, I think I had
Going to 2 life early sucks.
I think I had to reread that like 2 or 3 times to make sure, because like there's the green Frieza Unison, I think specifies, I think it's 2 or more. It might be intercross 2 or less though. But I remember there being a card that's like your opponent has to pop a 2 or more card on the battlefield just to make an attack. And I was like, is it 2 or less? Okay, good. I can do this.
Yeah.
And the benefits, like I said, of pulling all the one drops out of the deck early on, it's just so now I can just play them and just draw a regular card on leader swing, which I think actually feels good. And I don't hate that effect anymore.
No, I had to read the Z leader twice to realize you still get to play the one drops on swing once you've Z awakened. It's just a strong effect to have access to throughout the game.
And so here I grab another. I comboed on that last attack just to make sure I had targets to put underneath this 13.
And this Android 13 does have a alternate way to play.
Correct.
Off of an activate main, correct?
Yeah, it's activate main. Place. It's 114 and 115 from your drop underneath it and play it on the board, so it doesn't get the 13. So you won't get the dual attack from it or the immunity from Saiyans.
Just run the Spopovich and Yamu from World Martial Arts and just put the top 5 cards of the deck under him and just hope that it's it's a Android 13. That's the real spice. That shit would have won Nats.
Oh my god.
And here I'm more or less poking, and I thought about playing the Gohan, and I realized its effect wouldn't matter because you comboed off your pan. But I guess I could have hit. You accidentally comboed off the not activate. You accidentally comboed first and didn't activate the Goku Vegeta's effect, so you had to play it.
Yeah. Although it was kind of worth drawing a card there, honestly.
And to note, the Goku and Vegeta would be removed from game on the removal, but who gives a shit?
It was one of those things where Jake never, like, he's the one who said, like, he does not play that card. And, like, when he comboed the card off first and then paid the 1 energy for their effect, I was like, you gotta play that card. And he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, you comboed first. You're like, oh shit, I did. You okay over there?
Yeah. My bad.
But you were like, oh shit, I did. And you had to play it.
Yeah. It sucks.
I debated on playing what card to play here. It was either going to be the big red Shin, or it would have been this Z battle card. And the debating it fell on the idea of what can I guarantee an attack off? And then I realized after I played it, I was like, oh shit, I can't attack with it.
Yeah. Floodgate finally came through there. I was counting on eventually it saving me and maybe me being able to push the kill through on this turn.
And I will say one of the benefits of the Z Awaken Android 13 is the activate main. Sorry, the activate battle, which is activate battle, doesn't specify whose turn it is. So it's a 5k boost, and it's an extra draw just for sending 3 key cards from my Z energy into my drop. And you, once again, just clearing one of my 13's always fantastic.
Yeah, Blue now has a lot of really solid options for removal, and this Gotenks deck, as long as you get to untap, whatever attacked you last turn, barrier or not, is probably not going to be there when you send it back to them on their turn, which is kind of new for a blue deck, and I'm honestly really enjoying it.
Hmm. This Beers can be a heavy energy investment for some blue decks, but when you're able to afford it and not, strain yourself on the energy side of things, like this card is insane.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like removal on swing plus barrier removal and 3 attacks for 4 energy. Like that's pretty solid. And
it's got barrier itself.
Mm.
So one of the benefits of Android 13, once you Z Awaken, are certain negates either are free or they will take a life for their effect. So like 17 here is free to play. You play it in rest mode. And you did choose to swing at 17 to clear it. But just in case you want to continue pushing on your turn, I wanted to go ahead and activate the leader's effect, get a draw off that, and give it an additional 5k boost to be safe. And just following up with a secret rare afterwards. Just kind of ended the game there. I did tap 5 by accident, but think it's the first time I've ever actually played that secret rare too.
Yeah, it's a solid card, man. I've had a lot of fun with that card, even though I don't actually own it.
I mean, you've had
He's
fun.
a lot of taking it from others
Yeah.
forcibly.
Well, you can't do that anymore. It just gets removed from game.
I mean, you can still like mug them.
Well,
That is true. I just realized that you got that win at TCG Con prior to that rule being changed. That's awesome.
Yeah, probably that's part of why.
Yeah.
The judge that saw that was like, we need to do something about this.
And with that being said, thank you for the opportunity. Keep in mind, this button down below. Feel free to click them to there for a reason. Guys, lead us out.
No.